Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in history, the only show that asks, what if the human race's favorite day for existential crises just happened to be October 22nd? From nuclear standoffs to light bulbs and opera wars, it's like history keeps marking this date as do something big or blow everything up day. So buckle up. Today we're diving into one of the most loaded dates on the calendar, a day of reckoning, revolution, and revelation. Or as I like to call it, Tuesday at the United Nations. Segment 1, The World on the Brink, Kennedy's Cold Sweat, 1962. October 22nd, 1962. John F. Kennedy went on live TV and basically told the world, hey, turns out the Soviets parked nukes 90 miles away and we're all one bad radio signal from turning into radioactive sand. Kennedy's address during the Cuban Missile Crisis was the moment the Cold War stopped being cold and became lukewarm with the chance of apocalypse. He called it a quarantine, not a blockade, because apparently declaring war is bad PR. And it worked. The world held its breath for a week. Kids hid under desks, adults hid in bourbon, and the Soviets hid their missiles. It was diplomacy through broadcast television, our first reality war show. Imagine TikTok during that crisis. One bad dance trend, and Florida's gone. Kennedy turned a potential nuclear nightmare into a masterclass in public pressure. He weaponized television before influencers were even a thing. Khrushchev blinked, the world exhaled, and Kennedy's approval rating shot up faster than a missile over Havana. Segment 2, The Long March, Mao's epic road trip, 1936. Jump back to 1936. Same day, different crisis. While Kennedy was keeping the world from ending, Mao Zedong was making sure his didn't. The Long March ended on October 22nd, 1936, after a year of walking 6,000 miles, roughly the distance from New York to LA, then back, uphill, barefoot, and while being shot at. 86,000 people started. Only a few thousand survived. That's less a march and more a death marathon with terrible Yelp reviews. But from this tragedy, Mao built a myth. He rebranded it from "We ran for our lives" to "We are indestructible." Classic PR move. Even Nike would have signed that endorsement deal. Just march it. It's the moment Mao solidified his leadership, and the CCP learned that you can lose everything and still win, if you're the one writing the history book afterward. The Long March didn't just save the revolution. It turned defeat into the world's longest motivational poster. Segment 3, Lone Star Rising, Sam Houston's sword drop, 1836. Now to Texas, because no global tour of chaos is complete without Texas. On October 22nd, 1836, Sam Houston became the first president of the Republic of Texas. His inauguration speech basically said, "We're free." Also, we're broke, surrounded by enemies, and really bad at diplomacy. But free. Houston wanted peace with native tribes, but also an army big enough to punch Mexico in the face again. It's the kind of dual policy we still see in Congress. Preach peace, budget for war. The guy literally unbuckled his sword mid-speech, handed it to the legislature, and said, "Call me if you need me." That's either humility or the 1830s version of rage quitting. The Republic of Texas was a paradox, born out of rebellion, obsessed with stability, and destined to join the U.S. because, have you been to a Texas barbecue? No one's staying independent with brisket that good. Segment 4, Edison's big glow up, 1879. October 22nd, 1879. Thomas Edison's carbonized cotton thread burned bright for 13.5 hours, the first practical light bulb. Before that, people relied on gas lamps, candles, and the occasional accidental house fire. Edison didn't invent light. He just made it rentable. He tested over 1,500 materials to find the right filament. The man literally burned through his sanity to make sure you could leave your bathroom light on all night. Investors doubted him. Gas companies panicked, and London stock markets had a meltdown over a guy with a glowing thread. But Edison wasn't selling bulbs. He was selling infrastructure. He built the world's first electric grid, proving that real innovation isn't about having a bright idea. It's about billing people monthly for it. Edison didn't just light up a bulb, he lit up capitalism. Segment 5, Xeroxed Beginnings, 1938. October 22nd, 1938. Chester Carlson invents xerography, the dry copy process that eventually birthed the photocopier. Imagine the first copy being 10/22/38 Astoria, the world's first scan-to-print flex. His assistant saw the smudgy page and said, "Cool, can I go now?" Carlson was rejected by over 20 companies. IBM passed, RCA laughed, and Haloid, later Xerox, took the gamble. 21 years later, office workers everywhere were discovering the joy of photocopying their butts. Carlson's story proved that world-changing ideas often start in dingy apartments, not shiny labs. It's the American dream distilled: persistence, innovation, and the long road to hearing low toner ruin your day. Segment 6, falling, floating, and flying, from Paris to Venus to the moon. October 22 spans the entire arc of human exploration. In 1797, André Jacques Garnerin made the first parachute jump. In 1975, the Soviets' Venera 9 became the first probe to beam back pictures from Venus. And in 2008, India's Chandrayaan-1 found water on the moon. That's the evolution of curiosity, from let's jump out of this balloon to let's land on a planet that'll melt us. Garnerin's jump was brave but wobbly. He forgot the air vent, so he swung like a yo-yo. Venera 9 survived 53 minutes on Venus, which, given those temperatures, is longer than most iPhones last on a hot day. And Chandrayaan-1 showed India could join the cosmic club, finding water on the moon and proving humanity's next great frontier might just have hydration packs included. From the skies to the stars, October 22nd proves we keep falling, just higher each time. Segment 7, the world agrees on something, 1884. October 22nd, 1884, the International Meridian Conference decided Greenwich, England would be 0 degrees longitude. 22 nations agreed. One said no, and France basically said, fine, but we're not calling it that. The vote made global navigation possible, but also turned geography into imperial branding. Time literally started in London because the British Empire owned the seas and the conversation. France held out until 1911, proving that even when agreeing on time, humanity will still argue for decades. So next time your phone says GMT, remember, it's not just a time zone. It's the fossilized ego of 19th century empire building. Nothing says global unity like a meeting where everyone agrees Britain gets to run the clock. Segment 8, the Metropolitan Opera's dramatic debut, 1883. The next year, on October 22nd, 1883, New York's Metropolitan Opera opened with Faust, a story about selling your soul for fame. Fitting, since the Met was built by rich industrialists angry that old money elites wouldn't let them buy box seats at the Academy of Music. So they built their own opera house with more boxes. Capitalism, the musical. Opening night was less about culture and more about status. It was the Super Bowl of snobbery, where the real performance was in the audience. But the Met outlasted its rivals, proving that even institutions born from pettiness can become temples of art. Today, you can live stream it in HD. Elitism for everyone. Segment 9, born this day, Liszt, Bernhardt, and Leary. October 22nd births a trio of icons: Franz Liszt, the original rock star pianist; Sarah Bernhardt, the first global celebrity; and Timothy Leary, the Harvard psychologist who told everyone to turn on, tune in, drop out. Liszt invented musical fandom. Women literally tore his gloves for souvenirs. Bernhardt made fame an art form. She had a pet alligator and napped in a coffin. Leary made rebellion fashionable. He weaponized consciousness and gave Nixon heartburn. They show how fame evolved, from genius at the piano to genius at branding to genius at tripping. Each proved influence is less about what you create and more about how you sell the story of yourself. Or in Leary's case, how you narrate the hallucination. Segment 10, Cézanne's final stroke, 1906. On October 22nd, 1906, Paul Cézanne died after catching pneumonia while painting outdoors. The man literally worked himself to death for art, and within a year, that obsession transformed art forever. His retrospective in 1907 inspired Picasso and Matisse to declare, "Cézanne is the father of us all." which is nice, though he probably would have preferred someone finally buying a painting. Cezanne bridged Impressionism and Modernism, turning apples, mountains, and bathers into blueprints for the 20th century. He died misunderstood and became immortal, a pattern that should terrify every unpaid artist today. In conclusion, so there you have it, October 22nd, a day when humanity invented, nearly destroyed, reinvented, and occasionally sang about itself. From nuclear poker to light bulbs, from communist marches to capitalist operas, from Parisian daredevils to Indian moon missions. This date reminds us history doesn't repeat itself. It just has impeccable timing. If history's a symphony, October 22nd is the day all the instruments played at once. Some in harmony, most out of tune, but somehow still making progress. Until next time, I'm Jordan Klepper, reminding you that the past isn't dead. It's just waiting for better lighting and a camera angle.